Yo, so I'm gonna start doing these videos. This is weird. Um, Start doing some videos. I share my point of view often on Instagram, and people DM me like, "Oh man, that was so relatable." So I think I'm gonna start to do some more direct engagement um, from the crib, and just share my point of view. Literally, it's just about sharing my point of view. Maybe you will agree, maybe you will disagree. But most importantly, it's just to shed light on a positive light on some of the things that I've learned and am still learning to navigate life um, and my career and my social life. Um, Lane, your phone died? Yeah, let me hit you in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. All right, that was Laney. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to start doing that. Yeah, how to navigate through life, how I'm navigating through my life, and as I learn things about myself and other people, I think it's responsible to share um, that perspective. So here it is. I don't even have a name for this thing, but one thing I wanted to, and it won't be long either. But one thing I wanted to that I've been thinking about that I've been doing often that is very successful, has been very successful lately, is uh, once a day, daily. Sometimes I try my best to step outside of myself and recognize things from a different perspective. So, like a lot of times, we get life is like chaotic and things happen. You wake up and you do this and you go to work and you're in your own zone, you're in your own space, and you have your own isms. And because you're like involved in yourself, you really don't step outside of yourself or have time or a chance to really step outside of yourself and look at yourself and say, wait a second, you know, um, a lot of people say this about me. Let me step outside of myself, and see maybe this is something that I do, or this is an energy that I do convey. Um, Good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes this is not even to step outside of yourself and see what's problematic, but sometimes it's to step outside of yourself and say like, wow, that I do that pretty well, or I've been successful in that area. Let me do more of that, and how do I grow in that space? Sometimes the things that could be negative about yourself or that aren't the greatest attributes, it'll help you adjust yourself to how you show up to people in the world. Because being aware of how you show up is important, and sometimes how you show up to others isn't how you think you show up to yourself. So um, what was kind of problematic for me was I would do that. I would do that kind of self analytical thing, but I would do it not so frequent. Every so often I would do it periodically, like 3 months, every 3 months or so, on average. And what I started to do was, if I do it daily, I can improve myself at a higher pace. So at the end of the day, I look at myself and I'm like, all right, today these were the reactions that I got based off of these things that I was exuding, and it wasn't really received well. I wonder why. If someone was talking to me on the other side of the table, how would they take my tone? How would they take my energy? How would they take all of that? And so I put that all in my mental chamber, and the next day I try to make small adjustments, because life is something that you have to look at it day by day, step by step. It can be so crazy, and you can cause yourself a lot of anxiety, and you can develop a lot of those things when you look at it so widespread all the time. When you look at it like, okay, when I'm 35, I want to be whatever. It's a lot easier to solve those and make those adjustments and make those changes and get to where you're trying to get to if you do it incrementally. day by day by day by day, because that's all you really have is what's in front of you. That's what's real. The future is actually not real, but that's a different story. So you do those things and you stay, and helps you stay centered daily to say, okay, boom. So tomorrow I'm going to make small adjustments. Big changes come from small adjustments, and so I would encourage everyone to try to do that. I do it at the end of the day, and I do it at the end of the day. Before I go to maybe like around 7 or 8 o'clock when my day's like really winding down, and I'll take some time and I'm like, okay. Even if it's a conversation, like I had a conversation with my mom, and I was sharing something with her, and the content that I was sharing with her was good. It was like helpful. I was like, "Yo, Mom, I need to tell you something." But the way that I said it to her, the way that I approached the call, she was like, she didn't even hear the message. She just felt the energy that I had, and the energy that I had was more like I was telling her something, as opposed to sharing that. And so for me, a lot of times, I don't want to talk at people. I want to seem like I'm sharing information with people. And so that's been something that I've been working on. I like to use myself because everyone has a different thing. You'll figure that out for yourself. And the best way to figure it out is to see what's the common thread that day or that week that you've been receiving. The opposite is true too. Like some good things. It's like I deal with difficult people very well. So I realized that, like, wow, I dealt with a difficult person today, 2 of them, 3 of them, and it was cool. And then we got through whatever that was. And so what I do at the end of that day is say, okay, how can I get better at what I'm already doing that seems to be working? So then I'll say, okay, even if it's down to like receiving, like, okay, phone call rings. The person who's calling me, I know could be calling me on some bullshit. But before I even pick up the phone, I do an internal, like, okay, we're going to stay calm throughout this entire phone call, no matter how crazy it gets. And that works. That's been working. So you get better at that area. So it's just this series that I'm going to do, if we call it that, is going to be less than 10 minutes. I'm going to try to make it less than 10 minutes. And it's going to be really about different tips that I learn to help improve yourself, all angles. More so, not like, physical improvements, but more so mental, spiritual, and improvements. So I hope this helps someone. Feel free to leave a comment below. Maybe there's some things that you learn about yourself, or but step outside of yourself daily. Try as best as you can. Make time to step outside of yourself is the theory and the message in this whole thing. So thank you guys for listening, and whatever comes in my brain next, I'll talk about it later.